Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and in this video we're going to have a little appreciation for the 18 to 55 lens. Here I have one in the Canon version. It's either the Canon or Nikon version, whatever you have. I'm not gonna emphasize about its performance, but more of what its role is in my bag. So what it does for me, and usually, and this is for those of you out there that maybe starting to get into photography. And probably when you buy a camera, this is the first lens you're gonna start with, or this is the first lens that you are gonna learn from. And what I noticed about what people usually do most of the time is when they buy a camera. The first thing they want to do is they want to sell this lens, and they want a better one. Actually, I did that when I first got my camera. I didn't like this lens that much. Actually, I wanted a better lens. I was trying to research about the best lens that I could buy, the sharpest. And that time it didn't seem very important to me. So actually, this is my second 18 to 55. The one that came with my camera, I sold that one. And when I realized how important the 18 to 55 was, I bought another one. And throughout the years that I've used this lens, I really found out its value, its importance in my camera bag. And this particular lens has seen a lot of weddings, a lot of birthdays. I use this lens in so many portraits, events, and it's become one of my really valued lenses, aside from the ones that I normally use. So in this video, I want to emphasize how important this lens is to me, and how I use it in my work. So like I said, back then, I didn't have, let's just say, I didn't have much appreciation for this lens. I bought, actually I was researching on the net for the best lens when I was just starting out shooting DSLR. So what I did was I bought an 85 millimeter 1.8, because I didn't know much about lenses at that time. I just wanted what was the best. So I used that 85 millimeter for a while, and I learned quite a bit from it. And when the time came that I wanted to upgrade to a 135, which was an L lens, I sold that 85 millimeter, but I still couldn't buy the 135. So I kind of lost money, and all I had left was this lens. So I lost a good lens, so I had no choice but to use this one. And actually, it surprised me because in 1 year of using this lens, I really learned a lot. This lens has taught me a lot about photography, that stuff I didn't know, stuff that newbies usually do when they first get a DSLR. So one of the things that I learned from using this lens for a year was sharpness was not all that important. It's a little important, but it forced me to improve my composition. You know, when you get a prime lens, usually the first thing you do is like open it up to its maximum aperture and you shoot with it, and you you get caught up in the beauty of the blurring the background or bokeh, and you think that having a lens with the best bokeh is the best lens. Actually, this kind of lens doesn't have a very good bokeh, but like what I said, it will force you to improve your composition rather than relying on bokeh to make good pictures. And one thing about this lens, it's a zoom lens. So when I was using a prime lens on my camera, there were times that I needed a wide shot, but I couldn't adjust to a wide shot. So that's one of the first things I appreciated by using the kit lens. And the second thing it taught me was lighting was more important than the sharpness of the lens. Again, part of composition. So having a lens that was not very, let's just say it was so-so quality. It forced me to learn more about good lighting rather than how to make my pictures sharp. So that's another thing I learned about in 1 year of using this lens. So another thing I learned when I used this lens was to tinker more on the picture style on my camera, so that I could adjust the kind of output that I wanted from my camera. So I didn't have the best lens, but I could still make good pictures because it forced me to study lighting, composition. So for me, this lens was a very good teacher. Because it's limited, limited in its aperture, and it's limited in its focal length. So it forced me to really study more about photography and how I could still make good pictures, even though it wasn't the best lens. And yeah, that's why I made this video for appreciation, because I've used this lens for a very long time. And one more important thing about this lens is when you buy a new camera and you get this lens, my advice is do not ever sell the lens. Even if you're gonna upgrade to a better lens, just don't sell it, because you never know when it's like me. I work on covering events like birthdays and weddings, and you never know when your equipment's gonna get broken. So even though you have all your fancy lenses, your high quality lenses, you don't know when they're gonna break down. So this will be the last lens that you'll have in your bag. So at least you'll have a backup so that you can finish your job. And it did save me quite a few times, or many times actually. So yeah, that's what I was that's what the role so yeah, that's the role of this lens in my bag. It's not really a backup. I do use this lens often, but I always have it in my bag, always. And because I didn't have a high quality lens, it forced me to also study about post-production on the computer. I learned to use Lightroom and Photoshop. I learned techniques on how to color correct my pictures, or how to enhance my pictures. So if you're gonna buy a new camera and it does come with a kit lens, even though you upgraded your lens to a better one, my advice is never sell the kit lens, because you never know when you're doing your job. You never know when your equipment is gonna break down. So it's good to have something to pull out of your bag so that you can finish the job. So that's one of the important uses of my kit lens, and why I appreciate it very much. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.